All right, so let's just review where we're at. We're working our way down our troubleshooting list here. So we tested on LNX and everything was great, but we had failures on Win 10, 11, or DC1 Server 1. So I've just added another thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark next to that. So we did that. We added allow query any. Maybe I should almost put that in quotation marks so that we can understand that that's syntax. And we added that to the Etsy named d.conf. And I didn't note it here, but it's particularly important to note that it went into the options section. All right, so let's go back and I want to show you something on LNX. So I'm over on LNX and let's go into the DNS server and let's go into basic options here. And I want you to see that it added it here. So now the next question is, well, Randy, couldn't we have just added it right here? Maybe. But I want you to, again, to realize that this tool is removed from the actual heart and engine of Linux. So doing it here is not as reliable as doing it actually modifying the configuration file. Now I know that you and I, being from a Windows background, this is more inviting to us, but the power of Linux is where we were at, being able to work with the configuration files. Right, but anyways, we need to go test, right? Absolutely. So you're thinking, Randy, you probably already tested. I'm not telling. So here I'm over on DC1, and I've got a command prompt on DC1. I go to nslookup, and again, it points to itself, so I say server lnx. That looks good, and now I ask it for, let's just be bold, DC1. Yay! All right, are you doing backflips? Okay. Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool, pretty exciting. So that worked, right? Yes, that did not work before. Let's ask it to go out on the internet for us. So let's ask it for, and it was happy with that. And again, not to run these videos long, but what I found was any question that I ask it, it was able to now answer for me. And of course, DC1 is on CorpNet. Let's go over to Windows 11, and you're thinking, yeah, if it worked on CorpNet, it probably also works on DevNet. Okay. That looks good. Okay, everything's coming back good. Okay. So what we have now is we have functional DNS, and the troubleshooting part of this, it may have gone very well for you, or you may have spent a day and a half in it. I know you're wondering, Randy, how long did you spend troubleshooting that? I spent almost a day. I started on it yesterday and wasn't able to come to any conclusion. Worked on it again for about a half a day today and was able to follow some good articles. The problem that I saw is not unusual, and also it used to be like in earlier versions of OpenSUSE that the problem didn't exist. That by default anybody was allowed, and so what happens sometimes is that as Linux as it matures, there's things that happen to the bind daemon that aren't yet integrated or fully connected to the AST front end to that, the graphical side of it, and that's what we're seeing here. And I'll tell you that every year when we get into projects with Linux, this is what we find. That this year it was DNS, last year, what was it last year? But there's always, and as you build skill with this kind of stuff, then that's what makes you valuable. All right, now there are some other things that we can do, but I think we've invested a lot of time and we still have some more to go with working with Linux. But let me just talk to you about what else we could do. And I'm not going to ask you to do it, but if you'd like to, please go ahead and do it. And that would be this. So now that we have DNS functional and working as it should, It's not available to the internet, right? We didn't open any firewall ports up here. We didn't do that. But it is fully available to everybody inside. So no firewall ports were open to it, but all right. What we could then do is we could go over to the DHCP reservations for Win 10 and 11, and we could change the DNS setting away from DC1 and change it to LNX. So in other words, remember when Win 10 and Win 11 are over here, they get their DHCP lease package from the DevNet scope. In the DevNet scope, we could set the DNS server to be LNX instead of DC1. We could do that. Okay, that would be something good to do, but I'm going to leave that up to you. Okay, so we're good then with DNS and DNS troubleshooting, and we'll continue on. I want to do a little bit more work with Linux before we switch gears and go to a different aspect of our project. All right, so you have a great rest of your day.